Well, revenue solves all problems. The more revenue you can get, the easier it's going to be for you to raise capital. At the end of the day, startup investors are taking huge risks. I think many of them don't even understand how big of the risk they're actually taking, but they need to be compensated for their risk. So they're only going to be investing in the absolute best startups with the best traction. And I think founders need to remember how competitive it is and that they need to bring their A game. Otherwise, no one's going to invest. The typical founder that goes out to raise capital raises exactly $0. Founders need to be smart about it. Traction is the most obvious answer. I would say a less obvious answer that I see a lot of founders make this mistake is that they don't work on their pitch enough. They really need to make sure that they're speaking like a CEO so that the investor feels comfortable in them. If every other word is an it's a big problem. Founders should really practice not saying like, right, hella, any kind of acronym, any kind of slang, and just practice speaking clearly and articulating themselves. And I can tell you right now, I've seen a lot of investors pass because the pitch was awful. And I think there's often confusion. People think the pitch is just to get money. That's not true. The pitch is also to prove to the investor that you could pitch. You could pitch the next investor, that you could pitch to get media, or do you need to pay someone to get media? Can you pitch to recruit, or do you need to pay a recruiter? The pitch comes up all the time, especially in sales. And I think a lot of founders are just not ready for the level of communication that they need to actually raise capital.
I haven't thought it that way. I mean, I today was talking about how as a non-native English-speaking person that I cannot use informal language, right? I mean, it could fly with somebody that was born in the US because of the way they talk. But somebody can tell from my accent, even though I work hard on my accent, but somebody can tell from my accent that I'm not native English speaking, right? So if I try to use informal language or say, as you mentioned, slang, then it lands really, really, really bad, right? You lose trust by trying to play cool.
Yeah, and you lose trust if you can't pitch your business,
Right.
I see founders, they pitch their business and they sound half asleep. If your business doesn't get you excited, why would the investor invest?
Right.
And I think founders should spend a full weekend or an hour every night, whatever, for their schedule, and practice their pitch and practice telling stories. If you can get good at telling stories, it is extraordinarily powerful. And, you're telling the story of your company. Are people going to believe you or are they not going to believe you?
So the root of what you're saying is you're gauging the capacity of a founder to influence other people.
That's part of it. Yep. You're looking at influence, you're looking at sales, you're looking at a cost advantage, right? Founders that can't pitch are at a huge cost advantage to founders that can pitch. Because as I said, founders that can pitch, they're getting free media. They're recruiting better people. They're saving money by not going through recruiters. They're able to pitch investors and close them. They don't need to get help with raising capital, right? These things that make super successful founders. Otherwise, if they can't speak, there's a limit to how successful they can get.